standing on a chiropractic stage and admitting that I had failed at my birth. Like, I'm supposed to help lead some of these women, right? But I didn't do it right. And so my kids have taught me all kinds of miracle stories. I don't think it's any accident that I chose Phoenix. We don't name any of our kids until they get here. There's a rebirth moment for me in that experience with him. And he's the only child who's left a mark. And so him and I are still getting to know each other, and he's taught me so much. So now that's a long way, see, I told you I talk too much. But that's a long way around 4 of my 5 children. Now I'm going to tell you about my Noxie, my sweet Noxie. He lives up to his name. This boy is like, he started trying to walk when he was like 7 months old, but he fell 10,000 times. But then back up, let's do it again. He is tenacious, like you cannot believe. This kid is like, oh, he's a committed individual. And anytime you hear something fall or break or an argument, it's like, oh God, Knox, what are you doing now? And one of those moments happened in September of 16. My husband and I are standing in the kitchen. I was holding my daughter. We were talking to our nanny. We're getting ready to load up and go watch my oldest son play football. And you hear this like, that didn't do it justice. Craziest sound I've ever heard. Loud, straight through the wall where I was standing. I was like, shit, Knox, you go. I pointed to my husband. I was like, you go. I don't even want to know. But I'm like following him, still kind of talking, and I hear my husband make this noise that I don't ever want to hear him make again. The way he said my name, I knew something was drastically wrong. So I handed Miranda Magnolia, and I ran around the corner, and I could see Jagger standing in the doorway, and Phoenix sitting on the floor, and then I see Noxie, and he's laying in the closet like this, and his eyes back and forth to Jagger. What happened? Jagger, what happened? He fell. From where? They're in the closet. Jagger, where did he fall from? So about the top of that TV screen. Knox was trying to Spider-Man his way around the top of the closet and caught his feet and took a nosedive straight down on his face. And so here's this moment, and a couple of you have been to the Big Idea, so you know how far from like civilization we lived. It was like out in the middle of nowhere, and I grew up out there. My husband looked at me and he said, "Do you want me to call the ambulance?" And I was like, "No." I have countless stories growing up of people who died waiting on an ambulance. No, get in the car. You're a good driver. Get me there. And I picked him up. Hindsight, I was not thinking in that moment. I grabbed his neck, I picked him up, and there was this crazy formation of inflammation from here all the way back around his head, blood dripping from his nose. Noxie, 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 Mom. And I was like, okay, he's there. Okay, what day is it? Honey, what's going on? Honey, are you in there? Are you okay? Look at me. What day is it? What's your brother's name? What's your dad's name? Engaging him. My husband's like trying to find our car keys, like grabbing my husband, like, get your shit together. You gotta get us there, okay? Hold it together. He's fine. Power made the body heals the body. Don't you forget who we are. We have tools to live life without fear. Everything's gonna be fine. Get in the car. I got blood on my shirt and I'm holding I lose eye contact with that little boy. Noxie, look at me. Who am I? Mom. Kept trying to fall asleep. When you stay with me, you look at me. I'm like palpating. We get to the hospital. The front desk people were less than kind. And I'm like, get me a stretcher, please. And I'm about to you so mess with Mama Bear of all people in me. Like, a little. So we get back there. I kid you not. One nurse is like, ma'am, please stop talking to him. Just let him fall asleep. What? I'm like, football, you've lost your right to help. And I'm not, Noxie, look at me. And I'm pretty calm. Like, I hadn't cracked a tear yet at this point. Totally focused on him. And I look over out of the corner of my eye. My husband's standing here. Look out of the corner of my eye. And the doctor is Googling. And I hit my husband, and I looked at him and I was like, Moxie, who am I? I don't know. And I was like, oh my God. Then I lose it. And I walk over, and I was like, are you Googling right now? He's like, well, our hospital is not really equipped for this level of trauma. We're going to have to transfer you to another hospital. What are we doing here? What is happening? Somebody focus on this child. So I'm trying to contain the Hulk and not just completely lose it. And my child, who had been looking at me, I was doing pretty good until he was like, I don't know. And I could see it in his eyes. You know when you know that somebody's connected to you and when they're not? Then I started to panic a little bit. They transferred him and I by ambulance to another hospital. And I got there, and they rushed him back. You don't get to go. Do you know who I got to go with, though? A police officer who proceeded to ask me about the happenings of what just happened so they could start looking at it. He's like, we have detectives at your house right now talking to your kids. And I said, excuse me? You're with my Jagger, and his mom and dad aren't there? You're interviewing my family? So surreal moments. And at this point, I just shook the man's hand and I said, look, I'm not trying to be crazy here. I need to know my son's okay before I'm going to talk to you. So can you please just go away? I don't want to talk to you right now. Worst moments. My husband's not there. I'm sitting alone in this hospital room. They come get me. They say, ma'am, go ahead and come back. And they bring me back to this room. He's asleep now on the bed. No one has told me anything yet. And this nurse comes up with her computer and she said, yes, ma'am, I need to verify a few things. I was like, can you tell me if he's okay? And she's like, the doctor's going to go over results in a minute. But can you confirm, is he unvaccinated? I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing this with you right now. I was like, yes, he is. She's like, well, we're going to have to talk about that while you guys are here. I was like, now's not the time, lady. Y'all are testing me today. So I deal with her for a second, then the doctor comes in. And they pull up the MRI. Knox had a 6-inch skull fracture, brain contusion, bad concussion. He's stable. He's okay. So they take us up to the kids' room. We get in there. He starts to wake up, and he just wants mom. My husband had gotten here at that time. I'm crawling into bed with him. Somebody tell me I can't because I'll flip something. So I'm in bed with him, laying next to him, and they walk up with this little red cup. And she's like, here, this is some Loratab, sweetie. We're going to have you take this. He hits the cup, and he's like, I don't do drugs. Yeah. They come in with another set of, and she's like, ma'am, he should really take something. I was like, I don't know. He said he's fine. She's like, well, we need to get him the anti-seizure meds. I was like, no, he hasn't had a seizure. Why would we give him anti-seizure meds when he hasn't had a seizure? Well, it's protocol, ma'am. Well, we don't do protocol, ma'am. Okay, well, here's a form, ma'am. You'll have to sign that you're going against hospital protocol, and that if your child dies, has a seizure, or suffers any damage, that it's your fault, not ours. Let me tell you something, guys. You can be the most principled doctor on the planet, but when it comes to signing a piece of paper like that, you better know who you are. You better know what you believe, and you better have conviction to back it up. Because I'm signing a piece of paper that says if my baby dies, it's on me. And do you know what kind of faith, unshakable roots I can sign that piece of paper with? Please don't cry. Don't cry with me. B.J. Palmer gave me those roots. Those green books gave me those roots. Life without fear. Chiropractic adjustment is, it's heavenly. I love it. I'm a junkie. I love getting adjusted. But you know what I love more? I love the principle. I love the big idea. I love the epigrams. You ask anybody that was on that tour that we did yesterday, I just walked around all day. Guys, if they knew what we knew. I said, no, you're not putting drugs in his body. They're showing me the side effects. I was like, guys, he hasn't had a seizure and you're asking me to give him something? But I'm strong in who I am because great people before me laid the road to be that. Because I learned from that guy in his home in Boston. You never know how far reaching. Part of why I'm crazy is because of people like Peter Kevorkian, who I learned in the ICPA. Your fault. The reason I can be so crazy is because of people like her, Heidi Havoc, who's proving it every day. Who's connecting dots like we've never seen in our profession. Guys, this is huge. And you're going to have a moment, and you're going to shake. It's not if, it's when. Do you really believe? Third lesson, know who you are and have the conviction to back it up. My Noxie is fine. They had to stay to observe, like, on his discharge, he never took any meds. The only thing they did was an MRI and a CT. We refused all other treatment. The bill, $60,000. He talked about collecting money for your service. They didn't do anything. $60,000. Now they wrote off. We only had to pay $16,000. Only. Now I won't refuse like emergency medical care, and I'm not going to put that down. That's not my point. But chiropractic, through those moments, and how I know that I'm doing a good job as a mother, is not only did I have something to cling to in those moments, but my son was in it. And I brought him home, and I'm going to put up a couple of the pictures on the event because I didn't do a PowerPoint because they throw me in my head and out of my heart sometimes. But I want you to see his face, and I want you to see the MRI pictures. I want you to see it. Above, down, inside out. Power that made the body heals the body. I can prove it. This little boy. Miracle? Oh my gosh. He didn't do it. Well, I didn't have to do anything to fix it. I took him to Cal Jam with his twin brother Jagger, and they came out on stage, and they did their little tag team. Power that made the body heals the body. It was really cute. But that's how, chiropractic miracles, are you kidding me?